All right, welcome back to our video tutorial on creating a maze solver GUI. So in this video, we're just going to finish up where we left off with the animate. We have animation working, but our menu doesn't actually represent the status of whether we're animating or not. So that's what we're going to update in this video. So first off, I've gone ahead and updated the size of my maze, made it a 20 by 20. It just, I think, makes it more interesting to watch it solve. So I go ahead and compile and run this. So we can go ahead and watch this solve. And as we're watching this, I wanted you to notice that there's times where we can kind of see that our A-star heuristic, in other words, the way that it's kind of choosing what path to take, isn't necessarily great because it's pretty clearly picking a path that's actually farther away from our goal. So that may be something to revisit later, where for some reason that heuristic isn't working correctly. But for that's not our goal for this video. In this video, we're going to get our animation. We're going to get this little show algorithm box to work. Okay, that's right. Because right now, it doesn't make a difference, right? If I have that unchecked and I say, let's solve this with a depth first search, it still animates. So that's not good. We also don't have a stop button. I don't know how to do a stop button. If we think about it right now, our program is kind of, well, it's just kind of stuck here running, right? It's in the solve loop. That may be something to add to our feature list. You know, stop solving. Like I got this massive maze and I told you to solve it and I don't want to sit here for half an hour because I have animation on. That might be something to revisit later. So we'll put that on the back burner. I'll do that offline or off screen probably, but okay. That's interesting. It also didn't actually find a solution here for some reason. What the heck happened? Interesting. So we have a couple of bugs going on. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can close this program. There we go. Well, we'll leave that for another video. We'll leave that for that is an interesting bug. Well, maybe you can take some time and see if you can figure out what that bug is. I don't know if that's a every time thing. Well, I guess we'll see on the next time we solve. Okay, so looking at our maze frame, remember, this is where we are making our menu. All right, so when we make our menu bar, we have the checkbox for animate, right? So we need to add an event listener to when the box is checked or unchecked. So I think what we need to do here is we're going to say animate dot add, and there are some different add things we want. So we can add an action listener. I think we want to add a change listener, or when it changes, that's when we want something to happen. So I'm going to do an add change listener. I'm going to say new change listener. Not null, change listener. And we have this anonymous class here again. Now, my Visual Studio Code is not telling me what I need to implement here. So I'm going to go ahead and look that up really quick. I'll be right back with you. All right, so here we are at the change listener class. We can see that it needs a void method called state changed that has a change event as a parameter. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm gonna write the method, the public void. I need to do an at override just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Public void state change. State changed. And it's going to be a change event. Okay. So when the state is changed, we should be able to check and see if it's checked or if it's not. Our show animation J checkbox menu has a method called isSelected, and it's a Boolean. So if it's checked, then it is selected should be true, and otherwise it should be false. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our instance variable, which was animation on. Is that right? Animate on. There we go. Equals is selected. Right. So anytime it changes, then we should update our value of animate on. So let's just see what that does. I think I'm going to have to import change listener under javax.swing.event.change listener and javax.swing.event.change event. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out why my Visual Studio Code stopped underlining stuff. I'll do that before the next video. Hopefully you're not having that problem and you maybe could have just skipped this last bit of the video. But just to show you what I did there, in case that ever happens to you, I went to the API and I noticed that right up here it tells me that it's in javax.swing.event, and then I've got my change listener. So yeah, that's what made me figure that out. Also, the fact that the error was saying it didn't. If I look at the error here, it's saying can't find symbol, which tells me that the compiler doesn't know what a change listener is, which means that I must not have imported something I needed. So, all right, so let's try this. Hopefully this works. Now, by default, remember our show animation, we actually had it set to on when we first ran this, which means I'm going to change this to on and then to off. And change to depth first. I'm going to click solve. Okay, so that didn't work. Okay, I'm going to cancel this. I don't feel like watching it. You know what? I'm also going to switch it back to a 10 by 10. In retrospect, I don't feel like sitting here watching a 20 by 20 every time. Okay, so what's happening here? It is not turning off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch, scrolling up here to our constructor, I'm going to change animate on to false by default. Right, that way it corresponds with that box. And then I do kind of want to know if this is working or not. So I'm just going to do a system.out.println. What is it? Show animation dot is selected. I just want to see what this actually is giving us. I'm going to compile it. Run. Let's make sure that looks okay for you. Yep. Okay, so it's triggering that call when I click. Oh. And again, I hope right now you're just yelling at your screen telling me, Mr. Purdy, just open your eyes. But animate is the menu. We don't want the change listener on the menu. We want the change listener on the menu item. Always the simple things. Let's see if that does it. So I click animate, that doesn't change anything. I click it. It says false when I mouse over it. That's good. I let go, and now it says true a whole bunch of times. That's good. It's true. Still true. I let go, false. Okay, so it is. What's interesting is it's calling that state changed even though we're not actually changing the state of the item. It makes me think that the state change is actually like a mouse over or something, like highlighted or not highlighted. Right? It doesn't actually have to do with if it's checked or not. So if I let go, though, we can see that it does become true. I'm going to go ahead and make this false and solve. Cool. I'm going to clear, make this true and solve. And now we can see it solve. Okay. Good. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to switch back to depth first search. Animate is on. Solve. And let's see if it's still, that bug we saw earlier shows up again. If it does, then that may be the next video. It's not, it didn't show up. So that may be hard to debug. That was a, If you come across that bug, let's talk about it. Maybe we can figure out what's going on together. So I'll keep an eye out for it too. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. We have our animation menu now recognizing if it's checked or not checked. Cool. And so yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.